Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's class. We are still on our Segnali di Pericolo, and today we are going to be looking at a new sign, and that is Passaggio a livello senza barriere. Passaggio a livello senza barriere. What does that indicate? It tells you that you're going to come across a train track without a barrier blocking the road. So let's proceed into understanding the rules that we have to observe when we are on such kind of road. Remember that we have already treated passaggio a livello con barriere or semi-barriere. So the rules that is applicable to that very sign is also applicable to this one. But the only difference here is just that this one is senza barriere. That is, without a barrier. So it says, bisogna moderare la velocità in relazione alla visibilità del passaggio a livello e fermarsi se ci sono due luci rosse lampeggianti accese. So you have to moderate your speed in relation to the visibility of the road, and when you begin to see, when you see two red lights alternating itself, you have to stop, because that means you are really close to the train track. Remember also that these signs, most of these signs that we call segnali di pericolo, they are positioned at 150 meters away from the actual spot. Now, let's continue with the rules. It says, il dispositivo acustico a campana in funzione e cavallette a strisce bianche e rosse che sbarrano i binari. So you're going to also come across the ringing of a bell, the sound of the ringing of a bell when you're approaching the train track, or you will see a pole that has that has white and red stripes that will block that particular spot. So these are some of the things you're going to come across. And these are the actual rules. Things you should not do. Sono vietati. Il sorpasso. We have already come across the word sorpasso. Sorpasso means to overtake, so don't overtake. Sono vietate. It is not allowed. La sosta, don't stop by that spot. L'inversione di marcia, making a U-turn, e la retromarcia, that is taking the reverse. These things are not allowed. Il segnale viene posto, let me highlight it for you. Il segnale viene posto sul primo dei pannelli distanziometrici a 3 barre rosse e deve essere seguito dalla croce di Sant'Andrea. Now I'm also going to show you what I mean by pannelli distanziometrici. In fact, let me quickly scroll down so that we could give a look at the pannelli distanziometrici. This very one you are seeing here is the Croce di Sant'Andrea. We have Croce di Sant'Andrea, Doppia Croce di Sant'Andrea, and followed by pannelli distanziometrici. These are just 3 different poles. Each of them have a red, red, it comes in a white color, but with a red stripe on it. So each one represents a distance, and that is why they are called pannelli distanziometrici. This very one with 3 stripes, the second one with 2 stripes, and this one with 1 red stripe. But we're going to get this. I just wanted you to see what pannelli distanziometrici represents. So it tells you that when you are coming across this train track, you're going to see this sign accompanied by pannelli distanziometrici and Croce di Sant'Andrea, because the three of them work together. So it tells you that se c'è un binario solo, doppia croce, okay, the first croce di Sant'Andrea, that is this very cross you can see here, it looks like an X, but it's called a cross, croce di Sant'Andrea. And I remember that when I attended the driving school, my teacher taught that the reason why it is called Croce di Sant'Andrea was because Andrea was crucified on top of this kind of a cross instead of the usual cross that we know, because he didn't want to be crucified on the same kind of cross that Jesus was crucified on. So that is what my teacher said during the driving classes. So I'm replicating the same information to you. All right, so that is why it's called Croce di Sant'Andrea. Meanwhile, we are still looking at the rules for passaggio a livello senza barriere. So passaggio a livello senza barriere is basically and follows the same rule as passaggio a livello con barriere or con semi barriere, but this very one is that there is no barrier. It comes with the characteristics of the two red light alternating itself, or the white pole, white and red stripes pole blocking the road, but there is no barrier in front of it. So you have to take note. Now let's move to Croce di Sant'Andrea. Now, what this very cross tells you is that when you are approaching the train track, when you see one cross like this, you know that it is one train lane. That is just the rule. It tells you si trova nelle immediate vicinanza della linea ferroviaria. Quindi, dopo il segnale di pericolo, which is this very one we have seen, solamente nei passaggi a livello senza barriere ed indica la presenza di un solo binario. It tells you that there's only one train track. And you also see due luci rosse lampeggianti di two red light alternating itself attraversamenti lampeggianti alternativamente quando sta per sopraggiungere un treno. So the lights will come up when a train is approaching, when the train is close. Then let's move to the second one. Doppia Croce di Sant'Andrea tells us that, in fact, let me just read it through, si trova nelle immediate vicinanze della linea ferroviaria solamente nei passaggi a livello senza barriere ed indica la presenza di due o più binari. Now, you see this very doppia croce di Sant'Andrea, the two cross of Sant'Andrea, when there is two train lane or more. Two train lane or more. So, and when you are looking at passaggio a livello, now let's go to the previous class we had. Passaggio a livello con barriere or semi-barriere. Con barriere or semi-barriere does not show you Croce di Sant'Andrea. It doesn't, there is no anything related to Croce di Sant'Andrea on this particular side. But the one we are treating today, passaggio a livello senza barriere, that is where you can find Croce di Sant'Andrea or Doppia Croce di Sant'Andrea. Now let's move to the next one, which is Pannelli Distanziometrici. Pannelli Distanziometrici. Now we're going to read through to understand what each pannello stands for. Si trova in tutti i passaggi a livelli, con barriere, senza barriere, con semi-barriere. You see? Now you see this pannelli in all the passaggi a livelli. Meanwhile, I told you before now that Croce di Sant'Andrea, you only see it in passaggio a livello senza barriere. but you don't see it in segnali a livello, con barriere or con semi-barriere. But here, pannelli distanziometrici, you see it in all the passaggio a livello. And what do they indicate? Indicano che, let me highlight this so that you can understand. Indicano che ci stiamo avvicinando alla linea ferroviaria. They indicate that we are approaching the train track, the train line. Quando con 3 barre si trova a 150 metri dai binari. Now, the first one you have here with 3 red strokes tells you that you are at 150 meters away from the train track. Let's proceed again. Then also, quello con 2 barre si trova a 100 metri dai binari. The one with 2 strokes is positioned at 100 meters away from the train track or the train line. And the last one says, let me shift so that you can see it properly. Ok. Quello con una sola barra si trova a 50 metri dai binari. So the one with just one red stroke is found, is positioned at 50 meters away from the train track. So it's just one stroke indicates 50 meters, 2 strokes indicate 100 meters, and the 3 red strokes indicate 150 meters. Now, I omitted this on purpose because I want you to understand that sometimes it is not just only a train track, but it could also be what we have here, ponte mobile, that is a mobile bridge. There are some bridges that when usually they close and open for ships to pass underneath. And when ships are passing underneath, the bridge will open up, the cars cannot pass on top of the bridge. Meanwhile, when the ships have done passing, the bridge will come back together, permitting, allowing the cars to cross it again. So sometimes you come across Passaggio a livello, which is a train track, and sometimes you come across ponte mobile. So you have to take note of these things we have done in this class today. We looked at, let me quickly run through the signs we saw in our class, in our today's study. We saw passaggio a livello senza barriere. That is this very wall you're seeing here. We saw Croce di S.Andrea. That is the cross on which Andrea was crucified. And we also saw Doppia Croce di S.Andrea, double, 2, indicating 2 or more train line. The first one indicates just 1 train line. Second one indicates 2 or more. And the third sign we saw is Pannelli Distanziometrici. So take note of the rules, take note of the do's and the don'ts. And with this, we end today's class. If there is any question, feel free to write them down in the comment section, and I will be available to answer your questions. Okay, thank you so much for joining today's class. Bye-bye. God bless you.